Welcome to the Blytheway Morning Show on Core London. I'm Bonnie Hughes, Manager of Business Development for Royal Haskoning, DHV, and our wonderful guest today is Roger Murphy. He is CEO of Sula Iron and Gold, soon to be changed to Africa Battery Metals. And he's had a very exciting new acquisition of a cobalt property in the DRC at a time when everyone is looking for conflict-free minerals from the DRC. So now he's got an amazing project he's going to tell us all about, and it's transformation for the company. Thank you for joining us, Roger.
And thanks for that great introduction, Bonnie. I'm really so happy with what we've done. I think it's a fantastic new development for the company.
And so you just acquired this, you're in the process?
Yeah, maybe I could run you through what's happened. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here, and it's taken a long time to put this all together. But, you know, the nuts and bolts, or the guts of it is that we are acquiring a cobalt development property in southern DRC. We're injecting that into Sula. We're raising a lot of new capital, which will allow us not just to pay for the project, but also to spend best part of a year on exploration to de-risk the project and take it towards the process of declaring a resource. We know there's cobalt on there. We've had independent geologists has come up with grab samples from small pits of up to 2.5%, which is a really high grade. So we're acquiring that asset. We're also buying back the Riverfort facility, which will mean that there'll be no forward selling going on. We're delighted with what Riverfort has helped us do, by the way. But we're also, to reflect the change in the company, we're changing the name of the company to African Battery Metals. I just want to say that doesn't mean we're neglecting our Sierra Leone assets and the gold at Ferran Solar. We will continue to assess that project, and as we've said in our release, we'll be looking to valorize that. And as we've announced previously, we'd be very interested in a joint venture or a farm out in due course.
And so you're just doing a placing for 1.75 million to cover the acquisition and the cost, and to do some further. Are you doing geophysics, some drilling? What's your plan?
Well, by the way, the financing's done. It was, you know, so it's all subject to an EGM, but we think shareholders should approve this because this, I think, is just a fantastic. I mean, I should say, before answering your question, that there is no other, to my knowledge, there's no other cobalt-focused company in London. And just if you look at the cobalt-listed companies in Australia or Canada, they've done extraordinarily well. And we hope to be one of those and hope to give investors a reason to believe in us. Well, it's fairly shallow across a large area of the license. The pits that we've seen are down to around 9 meters. So I think the first phase will be some geological mapping, crossing the license. There are artisanals at work on the license. We'll look at what they're digging out. We'll take some grab samples. We'll then probably put more of a series of pits on a grid across the license to get an idea of how the mineralization varies and the depth of the mineralization. We will look at a series of geophysics, whether that's aeromag or maybe IP and stuff like that. But, you know, I think what may be different to what we've done in the past is our exploration, because it's a lot shallower, shouldn't be anything like as expensive. And any drilling we do will be much cheaper and shallower drilling, you know. So I think, you know, the money we've raised allows us to do a lot on the license.
And I guess because you're in the DRC where there's a lot of experienced personnel, you'll have access to good intellectual capital to help you on the project?
Yeah, one of the real differences, I think, that, you know, our technical advisors, Medini, of which I am a partner as well, brings to this project is several decades of experience of operating in the Congo between 3 different individuals, one of whom is himself a Congolese. He's a metallurgist in his early 60s. He's run projects in Congo. He grew up and he's very well connected into people operating other mines. So I think we have a good ability to understand how processes work in Congo through Serge Ngandu, who is part of Medini, and he will probably sit on the board of one of the subsidiary companies between the exploration asset and the listed company, as you say, currently called Sula, but in due course to be renamed African Battery Metals.
And I guess Medini, is that your JV partner who will own 30% of the Cobalt project? Or
No. The Medini is the technical advisor that brought the project to us. The 30% owner is a Congolese businessman, and the nature of the deal is we pay him $100,000 in 2 tranches, $50,000 up front and another $50,000 after 5 months. to own 70% of the project and then to advance it right through all the exploration and ultimately, we hope, to build a mine. But he has a free carry on 30% until we get to the point where we decide to advance to construction, at which point he would have to fund his 30% of the construction capital, or he would dilute and possibly convert into equity in the parent company.
So I guess your first step is over time to establish a resource or a reserve on the project, JORC or NI 43-101.
Exactly, and we'll start that process early next year. We'll be on the ground early in January. I should say as well that with this option, this asset that we've acquired, we have an option to acquire a second asset as part of the same package. We would have to pay the same terms, 50 up front and another 50 for a second project. So that brings us some exploration diversification. You know, there's always risk around any single project, and having a second opportunity may be of advantage to us in the future.
And what size is the land package that you've acquired?
The license we've bought, well, there's two, as I say. The main one is about 55 square kilometres, but it's quite long and thin, and it's all on the Rhone, which is the series of rocks in Congo from which nearly all the copper and cobalt comes. And then the second license, which is further to the southeast, is larger at about 120 or 130 square kilometres, but less well known, and we'll be going to have a close look at that early next year as well.
And so your projects are close to producing cobalt mines?
Indeed, that's right. I mean, the main project is about 30 kilometers from Lubumbashi. In the area, there are many large copper cobalt mines, half a dozen or more. So they say that the place to find a new project is in amongst the winding engines of mines, and we're right in amongst other mines. Although winding engines implies underground, and these would all be open pit mines.
And so what's your plan for the gold project then for next year?
Well, we'll be taking stock on it. We will probably do some more low-cost kind of grab sampling, but we are putting together a technical evaluation, and we will, I think, be looking to farm or joint venture that project, and we'll be looking to initiate on that process early into next year.
So there's no current conversations at the moment, but
no, there are not at the moment, but we believe there could be, and we are committed to the project. We see value in it, but we think a farm out or a joint venture might be the best way to deliver on that value.
And so that you can focus on the Cobalt project.
We'll focus on it, but as I say, we remain committed to the Sierra Leone asset as well.
Right, and considering the demand for cobalt, this is a perfect time to acquire a project in a cobalt, and there is not that many publicly traded cobalt companies out there to choose from when you look at how many gold projects there are.
Well, indeed. I mean, I've been reading quite a lot of research on cobalt over the last little while, and every analyst is bullish on cobalt. Just in case people don't know, it is one of the fundamental metals that goes into the new electric batteries. The reason that all our mobiles hopefully last longer and charge quicker is because they've got a lot of cobalt in them, and that's that same characteristic is going to be used in electric vehicles, as we want to drive, instead of internal combustion engines, but we want our car to drive us all the way to Wales or Scotland rather than to have to charge it up every 5 minutes. Cobalt is important in that process. So most analysts are very bullish on the outlook for cobalt, and we share that view.
And a lot of businesses want to acquire cobalt from, risk-free kind of companies or conflict-free companies.
That's a fundamental, sorry to interrupt you, but that's a fundamental issue for us. We are totally committed to ethical cobalt. All my partners, both in Sula and in Madini, we always will adhere to ethical and responsible practices in mining.
Because you're listed on AIM and a UK-based company as well.
Oh, that's important, but the philosophy is what drives me as well.
Well, this is very exciting times for you, and really congratulations on the acquisition. That is fantastic. I look forward, and our guests look forward to hearing more news about your project as you move it forward. Thank you for joining us today.
I'm so happy about this. I'm so driven to do a good job on this.
Excellent, and thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you next time.